28 minutes to 11 o'clock, and you are listening to Talk Radio 702 and 567 Cape Talk. The lines are open on 011-883-0702 or 021-446-0567, talking about a number of issues. Talked a little bit about soccer. It was revealed to me that I know jack about soccer. But hey, it's great. Then here's an interesting one. Residents of a wealthy Johannesburg suburb have been urged by their ward councillor to stop feeding vagrants in the area. And the DA's Amanda Forsythe has said that instead of giving casual jobs to the homeless, Parkview's well-heeled inhabitants should fund charity organizations instead. Forsythe issued a notice to the suburb saying that casual jobs only helped increase vagrancy in the area. They pick up these people and give them jobs, but they don't pay them enough. So the people can't afford to go back to their homes. They sleep on the streets so they can get back to work the next day, she said. The DA councillor said well-meaning churches and charities added to the problem by handing out blankets, food and clothes, which were often sold for cash, drugs or alcohol. The residents should rather support rehabilitation programs or contribute to the operational costs of a shelter in Hillbrow, Forsythe said. Various government departments, church groups and Parkview homeowners recently held a workshop to deal with the vagrants and proposed that the homeless be moved into a drug rehabilitation facility. Forsythe said the majority of vagrants need rehab before they will be accepted into the shelters of other programs that could take them off the street and give them a chance at finding a job and a place to live. The chairman of the Parkview Residents Association, Stephen Lanahan, said there was a concern that the presence of vagrants could lower property values. In general, vagrants make life uncomfortable and they are bad for the reputation of the suburb. Is this yet another elitist form of discrimination? Are we seeing people being kept out of certain areas because they happen to come from a particular class in terms of economies, and perhaps even because they are of a particular color? Give me a call on this one. I had some very, very upset people when they saw this article, and they said these people are trying to keep people out of, or trying to keep food out of people's mouths. When people talk about vagrants should not be given jobs. Yes, while we understand the reasoning behind our esteemed Amanda Forsythe's reasoning, it sounds a lot like a lot of discrimination here. What I believe Amanda, the councillor from the DA, should be calling for is that these people should be paid better, rather than be saying, no, these people should be removed and not be allowed to be coming into that part of Johannesburg, Parkview. They should be removed because they drop the standards or they drop the value of those areas is absolutely laughably discriminatory as far as I'm concerned. Tell me what you think about that. The number to dial is 011-883-0702 or 021-446-0567. Perhaps we have come to a place in our history where we can't just enjoy our creature comforts. The reality of some of those people in our country that are economically oppressed is beginning to come into those people that didn't even know that those realities exist in this country. I'm calling on the DA leader or the DA councillor, the lady Amanda Forsythe, to perhaps rethink the story and perhaps campaign for something else other than the marginalization or the chasing away of these people who she admits are being paid a pittance. I'm saying, what is she doing about making those people raise the salaries or the wages that they pay those people, and so that these people can go back to their homes? Okay. All right. Speaking to Dawn in Cape Town. Good evening yet. It's
good evening to you. How are you?
I'm very well. It's just my voice that's giving me a little bit of
yes, so don't worry. My one's just so bad. I've got bronchitis.
Go for it.
I want to speak about the vagrants. You know,
Yes.
We have a big problem in Cape Town about the vagrants.
Yeah.
We have them at all the four-way stops, and, you know, I know it's what people say, we shouldn't give them money, we shouldn't give them this and that. But, you know, we have to have a kind heart. God says feed the needy people and those that are downtrodden. And, sometimes these people just need a little bit of love and to let them know that people do care about them.
Right.
We give, I belong to St. Mark's Church in Edgemead, and we give them soup on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And on my own, I make soup, pots and pots of soup at home. And I distribute it amongst the homeless people, especially those that hang out by the bottle store when it's rainy and it's cold.
Yeah.
And even my security guard, when he's on duty at night, I phone him at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I know that he's hungry, and I will phone him and say, listen, I've got some hot soup. I'll warm it up in the microwave, come up and fetch it.
Yeah.
Now, the problem that we have is that the people that live around the area in our church, they feel that we are inviting the homeless people into the areas. But these homeless people are very homeless. They are not people that are criminals. The thing is that we have the criminal element that will try and jump in on the bandwagon and will walk with these people and will do things that they shouldn't be doing. But I feel that we need to help these people. They have got no jobs. They sit on the side of the road even with a plastic bag to have it pulled, and they rub their stomachs in it. And what I do is I have a couple of packets of 2 mineral noodles in my console in my car. And when I stop along the road, I give it to them, and they say to me,
Sure.
but lady, I don't have a pot to warm it up. I said, but you don't need a pot. You can just eat it like that. It's quite healthy to eat it just raw like that because it's already cooked.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, Dawn, and then I need to move on. I'm responding to the DA councillor in Parkview who said that these people must just be removed.
I don't. But how can you remove them? Where are you going to remove them to?
And that's the first thing I'm asking. And I'm saying that that's what happens. That's why a lot of people are saying that the DA is in trouble of being seen as just wanting to keep the status quo of white privilege and white privilege. I think that's the right word that I need to use, because they're not coming up with another solution for this thing. You understand that these people are homeless, so they need help, not to be pushed away, and
God says, feed the needy, feed my people.
Sure. So
and
now,
that's what we're doing.
So now I'm always accused of ANC bashing, but this time I think that the esteemed DA councillor has really made a bad call here, because
that's right.
All that's happening now is that she is now being seen for what people accuse the DA of wanting to maintain white privileges, keeping the status quo in those white suburbs and keep away those people that happen to be a little bit darker in color and that are poor. And that,
they're wrong.
Absolutely.
They're really wrong.
Absolutely. And that is what I'm saying.
We need to, if I had lots of money, what I would do is I would like to buy a piece of ground and put up a lot of Wendy houses. I know it's not an adequate home for them, but is to get a combine of Wendy houses where we could have these homeless people putting with their families, have counsellors and whoever they need to help with alcoholics and drug abuse and all that, and to rehabilitate those people. They don't get it in the shelters, because when they go to the shelters, they have to be in at a certain time, and they are robbed in there, and some of them don't even allow the children in there because the children get raped. So, the thing is to try and get a situation where we could have a piece of ground where we can put a lot of Wendy houses in it, which is dry and comfortable for them.
I've got to stop you, but would you please send your suggestions to the DA in Parkview? I think they would really do well to hear what you've got to say.
Because this is what I think we need to do. God gives me this word to help the poor, and I'm trying by making pots of soup myself. I take it down to the bottle stores where the vagrants hang out, and I give them food, and I give them bread, and I even buttered it for them because it's something I would like. I wouldn't like to give them something.
I've got to let you go, but thanks very much for your call.
Okay.
Cheers, bye. Lupio in Pretoria.
Hi, Lupio, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, ma'am. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the issue that you just spoke about just right now.
Yep.
That seeks to say that, the DA wants to maintain the status quo.
Yep.
I'm actually very surprised that we still are surprised at ourselves on some of these questions. Look, I'll tell you, the DA stands for, and the principle in which the DA stands for is the overall white power, which is really exhibited by the motive of authority, security, wealth, and comfort for all white people in this country. And therefore, that is what the DA stands for. That is what the DA will always stand for. Of course, they need the blacks to try and get into governance and to get their numbers correct. But the DA stands for comfort for white people. The DA stands for security for white people. They have no interest in what the black people are saying or what life should be like about black people. And I think, we should be able to also look in terms of how have we defined what we call as a rainbow nation. And I personally think that, this rainbow nation that we talk about in terms of equality and unity is really defined by white values. Look, there was an issue in the Sunday Times now that relates to a story about the Western Cape, for instance, being told that they were corrupt. Because it was a white government, in my view, it was Helen Zille, it was said to be a mistake. You'd expect from a government that is always preaching and telling us that they are world-class, they should have a world-class supply chain management system in place. Why is it that advisors of the DA were sitting at the tender board? But because it's white, we're told that it was a mistake and they're rectifying it. But if it was a black politician who was said to be corrupt, who was made to believe that it's inherent in black people because, black people cannot see beyond individual materialism. So those are the kind of things that I think as a society, particularly as a black community, we've really taken this truth and reconciliation concept, to an extent that we're not reflective of a society or the South African way of life currently is not reflective of a united black and white society. And as we continue, yeah.
What I was going to ask you, Lupiwe, is what, in your opinion, would then be a reflection of a value system that comes from the black folks, for example?
Firstly, we must be able to speak about racial issues without having to hide again in black dark corners. And I'm saying racial issues because it is fine and it is not offensive for a white person in this country to raise race issues. I mean, we've got to applaud the AfriForum, for instance, for ensuring that white values are taken care of, and they do that very well. I mean, you see now the song has been banned. You've got to thank them, but it is offensive for a black person to speak about race issues because you're going to be told you're a black racist. That is the first issue. And the second issue, Aubrey, we cannot continue in the unequal way of the economy of this country, where the majority is still exploited by the minority in the country. It is a fact. The economy of this country is not transformed. It is the fact that, when you speak of these people that are seen to be clouding all these big suburbs and very well-off suburbs, it's black people. It's black people you're talking about. And therefore, when the DA says that they'd rather be taken care of or must be chased away, they're speaking of black people because majority of unemployed people and the material conditions of people in this country, the majority of those material conditions are of black people are disgustingly, I don't even have words for it. I mean, I sometimes sit and think, it is easy for a white person to buy a Texan steak for a dog, and you have somebody who doesn't even have bread to sleep on tonight in the black community. So
hold on for me, Lupiwe. I have Amanda Forsythe. This is the counselor about which this article in the Sunday Times was written about. I'd like for you to stay because I'd like for her to just explain what we are reading in the newspaper, and perhaps you could ask her a few questions. Let me speak to Amanda. Good evening to you, Amanda.
Hi, good evening. Thanks very much for giving me this opportunity to chat.
Great stuff.
I'm really quite shocked as to, well, first of all, I was shocked today to read the article in the newspaper. And I'm quite shocked about how things are, being portrayed on the radio. First of all, I'd like to say that I was quoted in the newspaper in the Sunday Times today.
You were misquoted.
I was misquoted.
Right.
This article came about following a workshop that I organized in my ward on trying to deal with the vagrant issue in my ward and also in Johannesburg in general. And the workshop actually came about out of great concern for how the issue was being dealt with, namely that, residents all over Johannesburg, not just in my ward, get very scared, get very upset about vagrants congregating in their suburbs. And very often what happens is they call the police, either SAPS or the JMPD, and they insist that something is done about vagrants in their area and that these people be removed.
What would the something be? What would it look like?
Well, the thing is, very often what happens, and this is what horrified me, was very often what happens is, the police get called in, and sometimes the vagrants, actually, we prefer to call them displaced people, not vagrants, because vagrants does tend to have
very negative connotation. Yes,
absolutely. So what happens very often is the police come in, and sometimes they get arrested, and sometimes we've even heard of stories where, sometimes these people get taken, to far-flung places and deposited there in the hope that they won't return to the spot where they were found in. Then sometimes the JMPD is called in for various reasons, because people say that it's a health hazard and that some of these people are involved in crime, etc. And their mattresses are burned, their blankets are burned, their possessions are confiscated, etc.
Amanda, just before you continue, I had a caller just before you who was making certain statements about the DA, and can I ask her to just ask you a specific question to you? Lupiwa, are you still there?
Hi, Aubrey. Look, of course, I'm not privy to the entire details of the situation, but the question that we should really ask ourselves in such a situation is that who, in terms of analyzing the situation, is really saying these issues. I hear these issues of these people being a health hazard, and who are these people? How do we define them? What have they defined them as? Because for me,
she's just said now that they are the displaced.
So they homeless people with nowhere to go? Are they people that are looking for an economic activity? Meaning, are they people that are looking for jobs within those suburbs? Because we all know, we have people that stand in corners, for instance, and wait for contractors that would come from time to time and pick them up, and they would do plumbing here and there. Are they not people that are looking for economic activity?
All right, all right.
You know what? That's
right,
actually
Amanda?
an excellent. It's a brilliant question, and I'm really glad that you asked it, because one of the things that I have learned in investigating this problem is that, number one, the people we call vagrants are actually a very heterogeneous group. Okay. It consists of people who are unemployed, people who are homeless because they're unemployed.
What color are they, Amanda?
Black and white and multi. It doesn't matter. This is a problem that affects all South Africans. It's a problem that affects human beings. And that is why I was saying that we organized this workshop right in the beginning out of a concern for human beings, out of a desire to find a humane solution for helping these people. But to come back to the question about who these people are, we're talking about people of all races. We're talking about people who are homeless, who are destitute. We're talking about young people. We're talking about old people. We're talking about women and even children. I mean, recently we discovered a child of 5 years old who was on the street, who fortunately, thanks to the wonderful people at the Department of Human Development and the Displaced Peoples Unit, and I really have to take my hat off to them because they do an incredible job. Thanks to them, we managed to find a home for this child.
But then the report says, Amanda, that you specifically have have advised the inhabitants of that specific area not to help these people, not to give them money, or not to give them jobs, not to give them blankets, not to give them anything, because you want that suburb just to be vagrant free.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, the way this article is written, and actually I'm furious about it, because, first of all, I hate the title of the article, saying, "Don't feed the vagrants."
Exactly.
It sounds like a sign that's up at the zoo.
Yeah.
You know? I was infuriated by that, the title of the article. And the way it's been written, really, honestly, it comes off, and I can understand people being outraged, because I was outraged myself. Because it really, honestly sounds like a bunch of privileged people
Absolutely.
in a suburb that they want to be.
Let me give you the words that come to mind in my mind. It sounds like a bunch of privileged white people who don't want black people in their suburbs. That's what it sounded like to me.
I totally agree with you. That's exactly how it sounds in the article. But I can assure you that is absolutely not the intention. And in fact, you can ask any one of the people that participated in our workshop, which includes city officials. It includes people from the Department of Human Development, from Social Assistance, from the Displaced People's Unit, from SAPS, from Environmental Health. And then there were residents' associations, including the Parkview Residents Association, because Steve Lenehan from the Parkview Residents Association was also quoted in this article.
Yes.
And he was actually one of the concerned people at the workshop.
Concerned for whom?
Concerned about the vagrants, concerned about what could be done, what humane way can be found.
Sure.
To assist these people, because that was the purpose of the workshop. Because what we have understood is that, you know, arresting homeless people is not going to help them to get off the streets, and burning their blankets and their mattresses, etc., is not going to help them either. And it's completely and utterly inhumane.
Yeah. Lupiwo, I've got to let you go, but what are your last words to Amanda?
My last words is, we all know this is the case when it comes to the DA. Whenever there's a media report about them, there's always a misquote about them. So I really don't take that. I don't think any journalist out there would want to go and cover a story and then come tell us some things that are not facts. And the other issues...
Yeah, but in all fairness, Lupiwo, the very same Sunday Times has given an apology about a specific... subject that they wrote about. I think it was the Shabir Sheikh issue with the other lady that they said he had an unclear relationship with her, and hold on. They have now apologized. So it is possible that newspaper writers can make mistakes. Yeah.
The same way it is possible when Helen Zille said that she would resign if there's any corruption in her department. The Sunday Times reports that 2 DA members have resigned from the tender, which are DA members from the tender commission. Is that not conflict of interest? Did you have to wait for somebody from the news to come and say that you can't have 2 political DA members in a tender evaluation committee? So what I'm trying to say, there's a trend. I'm not saying that, you know, I mean, it's really amazing when certain stories come out, because people can come and get a platform within the media and correct
like you are getting right now, huh?
Yes, it's true. But I'm saying that there are those media statements that are made, but other people don't get an opportunity to correct them. Yeah. But when stories of negativity, particularly about the DA, are written in the media, the DA always comes out and we are misquoted.
All right. Lupiwo, I've got to let you go. Thanks very much for quoting. Cheers. Bye. Amanda, please, you got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
I would like to invite everybody to go and visit our website, my website for my ward. It's www.ward87.co.za. On the home page, you will find videos that we took at this workshop, including my opening speech stating our intentions. And I would also like anybody who is interested in coming to our next workshop on vagrants to come and join us. It's probably going to be, the tentative date for the moment is the 16th of November at Marks Park. And I invite anybody who's interested to contact me. You'll get my details on the website. Contact me, come and see what we're doing. Come and see what we're trying to do, working together with residents and the city officials to find a humane solution for the people in our area.
Amanda Forsythe, councillor for the DA in Ward 87. Thanks very much for calling in.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity for letting me speak.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's a little after 12 o'clock and time for Eyewitness News.